Chad Knaus wishing his driver Jimmy Johnson well in his quest for an Atlanta three-peat, but more importantly, to rebound from last week's run at Las Vegas. It's the Kobalt Tools 500 on Fox. The engines have fired and they're ready to roll out for the pace lap. Here is the way they'll line up today. Here's our Kobalt Tools starting grid. With Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr., Hendrick Chevrolet teammates sharing the front row. Darrell.
Let's see how old Junebug feels today. Dale Jr., it's a DW in the Fox Sports booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, you've been looking good every week here, and this is one of your favorites. What can we expect today?
Well, it's going to be slick, but it is one of my favorite tracks. Really enjoyed coming to Atlanta. I don't know what kind of race we're going to have today. Everybody was, had a lot of guys struggling in practice, but we felt like we had a pretty good car, so let's try to keep it one piece, keep it safe, so we can run hard at the end, have something with equipment-wise we can win the race with at the end.
Junebug, have you found any tire issues this weekend? Been some complaints. How do you feel about the tires for today?
Well, the tire is slicker. I like, just being honest, I like the other tire. But if Goodyear, this car puts a lot more load in the corner on the tire with the bump stops and everything we're using there. So Goodyear had to make a change, and they felt like we adjusted that. But the car was better. If it got more grip, you always kind of like driving on more grip. But I think we'll be fine today.
All right, my man. Good luck, and driver into victory circle today.
All right, man. Thank you.
Goodyear's response is that they have always, if they had to make a change, err on the side of safety rather than competition. But Larry, it presents a challenge for these drivers because this left side tire is a different construction than what they came and tested on.
Yeah, the biggest thing though is that right side tire. It's a harder compound. They brought that back here because they saw some wear issues at the test last summer, so they felt like they needed to go to the side of conservative with that tire. But I think this is just going to be one of those aggravating days. You're going to have to stay on top of it, and you would say race the racetrack, but trust me, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, they're going to be up there trying to lead this thing right off the box.
Darrell, the weather has been a challenge. We've had even snow this weekend. The tires may be a bit of a challenge for these drivers, but how much does the way you run at Las Vegas and at Atlanta look ahead and say whether or not you're going to have a good season?
Well, Atlanta's kind of an animal all to itself. I mean, with that high line, and this track's all turns. You got a mile of turns here, little short straightaway, 1,800 feet down the back. So you work hard here, and you work those right side tires harder here than you do a lot of places. So this car's a little heavier on the right side. I could understand why Goodyear came with the package they did, but man, it puts all the effort and all the energy and everything right back in the driver's hands.
A driver's racetrack and 500 miles ahead. Let's have a look at our Kobalt Tools of the race.
All right, first of all, especially late in the race, that sun's going to be right in these guys' eyes going into turn one. It's a late start, so that's going to be a challenge for these guys, especially when we get down to the latter part of this race. Pick the right groove, and you need to find that groove early because you want to make sure you've got the right groove for the end of this race. It may be up high, it may be down low. And then mistake-free pit stop, that final pit stop especially, it's so important you make no mistakes throughout the course of the day. These guys may be making 9 to 10 stops, but as we see week in and week out, the last one is the one you better be spot on.
Ready to race here in Atlanta. Make it a great race day with the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Just turn left and enjoy Budweiser, the great American lager. We are south of the city in Hampton, Georgia, where yesterday was so cold a 1/4 inch of snow accumulated. But let's get word from our pit reporters if it's at least a little warmer and more tolerable today. Let's start with Chris Devoto.
Much warmer, Mike. Hey, I want to talk about Jeff Gordon. When he took that hard hit in Las Vegas, no one's jaw dropped further than his wife, Ingrid. That's where she usually sits. She's not here today, but not because of the wreck. Jeff said she's just watching at home. When he got to the motor coach, she gave him a big hug after the wreck and said, "I'm so glad that you are the best at what you do." To Dr. Dick Berggren.
Greg Biffle is on a roll. Last week, he finished 3rd in the Cup race, 2nd in the nationwide race. Last night, the fastest man in happy hour, the final practice. This racetrack demands car control and nobody's better at car control than Greg Biffle. The 16 will be good today, Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, like everybody else, Kyle Busch in the 18 car having a tough time getting these tires hooked up to the racetrack. He won the truck race Friday night, would have won the nationwide race yesterday if not for a broken shock mount. I asked his crew chief, Steve Addington, what's your tuning adjustment here? And he goes, simple, Kyle Busch, Matt.
Matt Kenseth, like every champion starting in 2001, just looking to rebound from a very rough Las Vegas. It's been an up-and-down weekend for Kenseth. Yes, he won Saturday's nationwide race, but struggled in qualifying and after a transmission change, has to go to the back. And oh yes, he got beat by his son Ross playing Madden this morning, so he's looking for a big Sunday. Jack Roush says our car, the 17, is just as good as the 99, and that's saying something, Mike.